Okay, Namaskar. A very good afternoon to all the honorable committee members, respective dignitaries, participants, scholars, and students. I, Megha Yadav, Assistant Professor in the Computer Science Department of Apex University, we feel highly privileged and honored to extend a warm and hearty welcome to everybody present in the conference. For the inauguration session, I shall be the moderator and hope that all possible coordination is extended in best possible manner. It's a great honor for Apex University, Scientific Research Association, Research Culture Society, and Institute of Science and Technology, Eurasian University, to jointly organize the International Scientific Research Conference. Can you please change the slide to date and timing of conference? Yeah, thank you. Date and timing of the conference are as follows. On today, 28 November, the inaugural session prior ISBN book cover paper launch keynote speaker session will be conducted from 1 to 2:30 p.m. After that, there is a break of 30 minutes followed by presentation session first from 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Then there is RCS International Award and SRA Global Award announcement will conducted from 4:30 to 5 p.m. On 29 November, presentation session second and presentation session third, along with a valedictory session will be conducted. Please be informed that timings are based on Indian Standard Time for all the sessions. After the successful completion of conference, it is kindly requested to send your valuable feedback and suggestion by filling the feedback form after the valedictory session. Now let me give you a brief description of conference organizing institutions. The objective of international conference is to discuss issues, exchange of ideas and views toward the advancement of innovation, theory, practices, and to create space for presentation of current results of scientific work in the field of science, agriculture, engineering, and technology. Our main aim is to organize lectures by scientists and experts and to disseminate the ideas and concepts among the science and technology. Another aim of the conference is to provide an interaction stage for researchers and practitioners from academia and industry to deal with state-of-art advancement in their respective fields. Now, about the organizing institutions, that is Apex University, Jaipur, India. The university has been established by Rajasthan State Legislature Act number 27 of 2018. The main campus of the university is spread over a sprawling 30-acre campus in an eco-friendly environment at Achrol on Jaipur-Delhi National Highway and is one of the best campuses in the region. AU has world-class infrastructure, including state-of-art research facilities and modern library. In line with Sanjay Shiksha Samiti legacy of providing quality education, the university uses the latest and innovative methods and technology to impart the education. ISRC 2022 is supported by Institute of Science and Technology, is a self-financed college sponsored has been stated in the year 2011 with a noble aim of imparting technical education. The institution enables them to placed as the best professionals in industries and make them enter into a high-level program with competence and confidence. Institute trains specialists in physical science, life science, and computer science. Eurasian University is one of the finest education institutions for qualified personnel training in science, management, and technological specialization. Scientific subjects performed by the university aim to increase the efficiency of production and control processes, power saving, and environmental protection. Now, the Research Culture Society is a government-registered scientific research organization, is working for research community at national and international level to impart quality and non-profitable services. Society has successfully organized 100 plus conferences, seminars, symposiums, and other educational programs at national and international level in association with different educational institutions. Educational institutions, colleges, universities are welcome for memorandum of understanding. For academia exchange, knowledge sharing, and collaboration to organize event with us, we are promoting and sponsoring educational event as well as publishing research work in collaboration. We also invite sponsorship from the industries, corporates, institutes, and government bodies for our educational program. Now, the next one is International Scientific Research Association. It is an esteemed research organization working on to promote scientific research, studies, activities at international level. Also coordinate with other research organizations for the educational research events. Now let me give you a brief description about the honorable patrons, eminent speakers, conference committee members, and the coordinators. Dr. Jessica, convener ISRC 2022, Head Scientific Research. Professor Natalia, Head of Institute of Science and Technology. Dr. Ravi Juniwal, Chairman, Apex University, Jaipur. Professor Dr. O.P. Changani, Vice Chancellor, Apex University. Professor Dr. Pankaj Kumar Sharma, Registrar, Apex University. Now the conference speakers are as follows. Dr. Perin Somani, Director, London Organization of Skill Development, United Kingdom. Dr. Rania Lampu, STEM instructor at the Greek Ministry of Education at the Directorate of Educational Technology and Innovation, Greece. Dr. Devinder Singh Shekhawat, Dean Academics, Apex University, Jaipur. Dr. Sanjay Gaur, Professor and Head, CSE Jaipur Engineering College. Professor Dr. M. Narayani, Dean Postgraduate Studies, Creso University, Zambia. Now the conference committee members are Dr. Vuno Sui, Dr. Adil, Dr. Meet Kamal, Professor Dr. M. Narayani, Dr. Hotchat Hamidi, Dr. Deshmukh Anmol, Dr. Bhavya Devi, Mr. Vidanshu Juniwal, Dr. P.K. Dadich, Mr. Hari Mohan Sharma, Dr. Manjul Mishra, Dr. Bharti Vijay, Dr. Garima Sharma, Mr. Anil Agarwal. Conference coordinators are Dr. K.D. Gupta from Rajasthan, Dr. Smriti Sohani from Madhya Pradesh, Dr. Pokularni Kiran Shri from Andhra Pradesh, Dr. Sudhakar Umale from MH, Maharashtra. Now, as in Indian tradition and culture, any auspicious task related to education is only started by offering the reverence to Goddess Saraswati. Now we will have a traditional auspicious lamp lighting video as a tribute to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge, wisdom, and symbol of purity. Now, I would request Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. O.P. Changani, to grace the occasion by offering the reverence to Goddess Saraswati. Please, sir.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
या कुन्देन्दुतुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्म ब्रह्माच्युत शङ्कर प्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा शुक्लां ब्रह्मविचारसारपरमा आद्यां जगद्व्यापिनीं वीणापुस्तकधारिणीम् अभयदां जाड्यान्धकारापहाम् हस्ते स्फाटिकमालिकां विदधतीं पद्मासने संस्थितां वन्दे तां परमेश्वरीं भगवतीं बुद्धिप्रदां शारदाम्
Now, we feel privileged to announce the launch of ISBN Book Cover page. We would like to inform all the participants and research scholars that an ISBN International Conference proceeding will be issued. With the next slide. Now, I would like to introduce about the eminent speakers, Honorable Chief Guest Speaker, Dr. Parin Somani, Director, London Organization of Skill Development, United Kingdom, to enlighten us with her expertise and specialization in her skill development domain, which indeed is a need of an hour to uplift the masses and promote unexceptional growth in the society. Dr. Parin Somani, sir, please.
Please. Can you hear me? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, is audible, ma'am.
Perfect. Can you just play the PPT? I've just sent the PPT to sir. I can't see the PPT. Is PPT on there?
Yes, it's on the screen.
Is already on the screen? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so will you be changing my slides?
Yes, yes, sure.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so let me start. Okay, first of all, I would like to say a very big thank you to Dr. Chirag Patel and Dr. Jessica and the team member for inviting me here. It is my privilege and my honor to be with you on the International Scientific Research Conference to share my knowledge and talk about the reducing effects of the global climate change. Next, please. The Earth has been experiencing climate change for thousands of years. Over the past 650,000 years to contemporary life, there have been 7 cycles of glacier advance, retreat, and the re-advance. The modern era commenced approximately 11,700 years ago when the previous ice age concluded and the human civilization began. The climate change can be defined as a broad range of the global phenomena created predominantly by the burning fossil fuel, which added heat, trapping gases to the Earth atmosphere, and this phenomena includes the increased temperature trends described by the global warming, but also encompasses the changes as the sea level rises and the ice mass lost in Greenland, Antarctica, and the Arctic and the mountain glacier worldwide and extremely weather events. The increase in the global warming, number third slide, the increase in the global warming will have an increased effects on the climate change, particularly as the emission of the greenhouse gases persist. This will result in a severe prevalent and the irreversible impacts upon the individuals globally. Within contemporary life, the recent COVID-19 pandemic has already created a global catastrophe, creating an impact on the social, economic, and political factors. So if you talk about, I have written an article, Our World Before and After the COVID-19 Pandemic. So you can search me on the Google about it. Next slide. The objective of my study is the aim to understand the effects of climate change on the world with the endeavor to find solutions to reduce the global warming. Next, please. The result of the discussions, the results which I have come up with have indicated that the climate change Can you please all mute your mic so that it will be more easy for us to communicate, guys? Thank you. The results have indicated that the climate change affects the following: physical, mental health of the human, a reduction of the sea ice, melting glacier and increasing the sea level, intense and the excessive heat waves resulting in irreversible damages happening, the increase in the temperature due to the man-made greenhouse gases, including the reliance on the fossil fuel. This will intensify, creating an impact on a severe weather change. Next, please. The most affected countries, I will go through, that all countries globally are affected by the climate change, which we all are experiencing in this current climate. So hence, emphasizing the importance of climate protection. Thus, the countries need to work together globally to ensure about this climate change. It is apparent from the 2022 Climate Change Performance Index, CCP, where the Scandinavian countries, followed by Morocco and the United Kingdom, are the top 3 leaders of climate protection. However, even these countries have not been successful in reaching the high, very, very high rating and have not reached the 1.5 centigrade limit. So therefore, the top 3 positions are still vacant. Next, please. So if you look at the figure in this slide, number 1 is the highest, highlights the CCPI, the top ranking countries of 2022. So have a look at the slide. And there is another figure as well for CCPI for 2021. Can I have a next slide, please? So physical and the mental health, we are talking about the many disparities have been highlighted pertaining to the marginalized and the poorest people in the societies due to the impact of climate change and the COVID-19 increasing the inequalities and the number of lives which are lost globally. So there has been a very much increase due to this effect of the COVID-19. But however, currently no direct evidence link has been found between the climate change to the spread of COVID-19. But nevertheless, the impact of the climate change alters the interaction between the human and the other species in the world. So this has been correlations, between the rates of infections and the health deterioration. Next, please. The global addiction to fossil fuel within the nation is exacerbated. The health impact faced with contemporary life, particularly during the COVID-19 pandemic. So in 2020, Numerous countries experience heat waves, which we all might have faced it, and the challenges we have gone. But to comparing to the 1981 and the 2010, as 98 million more people were faced with the food insecurities. Next, please. The graph in the number 2 figure illustrate the impact of heat waves, days of the food insecurity. And if you look at the figure number 2 of 2022, you can see the difference. Can I have a next slide, please? So irreversible damage has resulted in indicating that there is a reduction of sea ice, melting glacier, increasing the sea levels, and the intense and the excessive heat waves, resulting in irreversible damages due to the climate change. So during the crop season, like maize, rice, and the wheat, reports of the food insecurity was increased on the days with a higher temperature in 2021. So approximately 470 billion laborers' hours were lost globally due to the heat exposure. And I'm sure we all will remember that we had been going through a lot of changes when this incident happened. Next, please. In the figure 3, if you see that, includes the major industries like agriculture, constructions, and the manufacturing and the services. So it is estimated that approximately 669 billion US dollars was lost in the income. So you can see that how much loss we have suffered. And you can see in this image as well, if you can look at the image, yes, that has been given a big loss to the global world. Next, please. So extreme drought has affected approximately 29% of global land for 1 month every year between 2012 and 2021 in comparison of 1951 to 1960. The unpredictable patterns in rainfall impinges upon the supply of fresh waters. So, however, it is important to ensure that fresh water availability to ensure the good health and maintenance of good hygiene and a clean drinking water. So if the drinking water is not accessible, individuals are at the risk of diarrhea, disease, and that will affect in your health system. So this can be caused over 500 deaths because of not having a clean water, especially 500 deaths of children under 5 years age. So in addition, lack of water has led to famine and drought. So it is expected that by end of 21st century, the impact of climate change will have the direction, and it will be directly related to the global intensity and frequency of regional drought. So you can imagine how much things can happen. And I have written one of the paper in 2021, the impact of climate change and the COVID-19 on the health. So that is all the part of it, what can affect. These are the results. Next, please. An increase in the human exposure to every high wildlife and the wildfire danger from 2001 to 2004 had increased to 61% by 2018 to 2021. The frequency of extremely weather occurrence that are the life-threatening, which is uncontrollable, lethal, and the increasing in magnitude have been increasing between 1980 and 2021. So this is heightened, and the conditions for spreading infectious disease, for example, between 2020 and 2021, the transmission of dengue increased by 12% when compared to 1951 to 1960. Global societies have not been utilizing clean energies. Hence, the dependency of dirty fuels has increased. This has resulted in households being vulnerable to increase the prices of fossil fuels to ensure that is not acceptable. Okay, are you there? I just lost you for a second. So let me go back to a sentence before. Okay, this has resulted in a household being vulnerable to the increased prices of fossil fuels to ensure acceptable living conditions. So, however, this has increased health risk to energy poverty as individuals brought within their homes fuel-derived air pollution at the dangerous level. Next, please. In 2021, a record of high of carbon dioxide emission was reached due to the increased use of energy consumption. Within knowledge of these figures, global governing bodies are continuingly to subsidize fossil fuel equating to billions of pounds per year. So this amount is equal to or exceeds the health budget of each nation. In addition, countries with a higher income did not deliver their committed transition to support the lower carbon pledges due to the lack of funding. So unfortunately, within contemporary life, nations we class as a fossil fuel giant are implementing their plans which will ultimately lead to excess emission that precedes agreed compatible levels in this global market. So in nations, if the nations proceed with the suggested strategies, it is likely that the globally health catastrophe would emerge due to a considerably warmer future, which is happening, which we all are going through that crisis of global warming. The crash between and the crash benefits the record higher profitably without investing on human health and well-being will be detrimental to the future. Next, please. So in conclusion, it is evident that there is a positive correlation between climate change and energy production, including the supply of fuel. So in addition, the physical resilience of the energy infrastructure has been affected. So individuals globally are experiencing the impact of climate change, the effects on their health and the well-being. However, very little action is implemented to reduce fossil fuel consumption by governing bodies and leading companies. So in addition to health implications resulting from the climate change, other factors include economical and social impacts that have been resulted from the COVID-19 pandemic. So energy crisis and the Russian-Ukraine war, commitment have been made by the international governing bodies to reduce impact of climate change. However, the carbon intensity of the energy system globally has been decreased by a mere 1% since 1992. So which was the year that UNFCCC was adopted. So next, please. Now, these are my recommendation, okay? It's nothing that you have to follow, but these are my recommendation, which I can tell you that it is recommended that governing bodies and a non-governmental organization work together to ensure human health is prioritized and fossil fuels are not in priority. Alternatively, energy sources should be utilized at more rapid rates, ensuring clean energy is used. It is possible to implement sensible strategies to overcome the crisis towards a healthier future for nations globally. This study has recommended the following. Number one, encouragement should be given to global societies to deter using fossil fuel and find alternate energy sources. This can facilitate the prevention of 1.2 million deaths of individuals that are currently dying from the air pollution. Number two, individuals should aim to utilize renewable energy sources. This will facilitate building resilient energy grids. Simultaneously, it will help the reduction of energy poverty. As a result, it will deliver clean and healthy energy into global household. Number three, redesign the urban areas to make them greener. This will help to decrease the effects of climate change. In addition, the physical and mental health of individual will improve. Next, a reduction in the number of dairy products and the red meat consumption and a rich plant-based diet with more fruits and vegetables, and the low carbon is suggested. So a high level of total clean energy reached 2020, although it is insufficient in comparison to where it should be. So it is a positive step that in it is a positive step that in 2021, zero carbon sources accounted for more than 80% of electricity generation. And the last one is, although 60% of the countries are interested in improving the effects of climate change due to the health effects, showing a gradual increase in engagement from the world leaders. It is important that the global awareness transforms into the urgent action. A health-central approach is recommended to overcome the challenges being experienced by individuals in the contemporary life. If you can change the slides, I have got the slides for the references, please. So I hope that will give you a clarity about the climate change in this 21st century, how we can work in a collaboration and reduce the effects of global climate change in this global world. So thank you very much, Dr. Patel, for having me here, and thank you to be part of the conference.
Yes, always welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, ma'am, for sharing your valuable views and enriching us with new dimensions to be included for the success of various tasks to be achieved by the society. Thanks a lot. Now, on behalf of Air Commodore Devendra Singh Shekhawat, Dean Academics, Apex University, Mr. Rishank Sharma, Associate Professor, will share his thought as a keynote speaker to enlighten us with his vast knowledge. Please, sir, kindly share your views. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rishank Sharma, and I'm here on behalf of Mr. Devendra Singh Shekhawat. And I'll be giving some of the knowledge about what is the collaboration between Isrc and Apex University. Like we are collaborating with such a prestigious organization, and we like to enlighten something for our Apex University. So we are Apex University from Jaipur. We are one of the leading universities offering multidisciplinary courses in multiple domains. And right now we are having collaborations with many of the other international organizations such as EC Council, ECNIT, and many of the international colleges are also collaborated with us, as well as we are member of Commonwealth also. So in this research, in this conference, we are talking about the research. So I just remembered a famous quote that research is to see what everybody else has seen and to think what nobody else has thought. So this is what research is all about. So whenever we talk about researching something, we need to understand that there are multiple domains now, and every domain is connected with some other domain. There was a time when in an education system, if you are going towards something, you have to choose a domain and then you have to pursue the same domain. Nowadays, as per the UGC also has allowed many of the universities and institutions, if you have chosen some domain and if you want to switch to some other domain, like if you have chosen like arts as a field and now you want to work as a computer engineer or something like that, still you can do such kind of a things in the section. So let us hope that this conference will lead us to the greater exploration of research possibilities. And I feel very privileged to speak in front of such great speakers. And when we are talking about the things that we will be talking within these conferences, our major goal is with agriculture, science, computer, as well as engineering. Nowadays, every single engineering is connected with the another engineering domain. Nowadays, if we talk about like I myself is having technical knowledge of two different engineering domains. I've got the knowledge of civil engineering as well as I have studied computer science also. So as you can see that when I thought that a domain which is different from the other domain, and still I found out that both of them can collaborate and can give you such a huge amount of good results. Like whatever we are trying to develop now, there are so many things that we can achieve right now. Like we are trying to become an interplanetary species. Like Elon Musk is also trying that we should go to Mars and we should, populate Mars. Whenever we talk about such kind of a things, to do something which is kind of very hard to imagine, these things can be achieved if you are having people who are having knowledge in multiple domains and can think about the multiple domains. Although the expertise in a single domain is also good, but sometimes you need to have a person who can explore both the domains as per the requirement. And the same things we are trying to achieve in our institutions, like all the collaborations that we have done right now. We are not just giving them the knowledge about, you know, not just the theoretical knowledge that we are providing them. We are giving them the knowledge how that they can apply the following things in the industry. So we are giving them the teachers who can provide them with the theoretical knowledge, as well as we are providing them with the instructors who are giving them the exposure towards the industry also. So now if we talk about what we want to achieve from this conference, we are trying to achieve something that has been lost for a very long time now, because for 20 to 30 years, many of the researchers have not came with such a great results. But in the past 1 decade, we have kept ourselves, we have taken human beings to such kind of a level that we are only thinking about getting better and better with the science and technology. In upcoming time, there was a time like people from the 90s, the people who have born in 90s, they have seen the changes. Before that, industrial era, people used to think, okay, human can do this only. Now we are thinking like, we can do a lot of things. And there are multiple things that can be that can happen if we collaborate different kind of knowledges together. So as a thing that we are talking, like ma'am has told us about the climate change. The major thing that nowadays we have to look after that, if we are developing something, how much time do we have with our mother planet? Because whatever we apply in our daily lives. Like right now, many of the people are saying that electrical energy might be the solution for each and everything. The thing is that uh, as if you will go through the many articles, you will find it out that electrical energy might reduce some of the emissions, but to create those batteries and to dispose them off is a very laborious and very difficult task to do. So are we moving towards something which is good for our environment, or it might cause some kind of a hazardous effect on our environment? So these kind of things, before applying anything, we have to do some kind of a research. We have to that we are making things better, or we are taking it towards something wrong. Same things. Like if there was an article or there was a research paper that somebody told that if we just place half of the Sahara Desert with the solar panels, we can provide the electricity to the entire world. But there will be some kind of a consequence because of those solar panels, because that region will get heated up and the terraforming will occur there, but the other regions will become dry. They will become unsustainable. So before applying anything, something can look good over the surface, but until unless you research something, you can find out the effects of the following thing on the society as well as on the people. So we are trying to create sustainable agricultural environment. We are trying to provide each and every person with the electricity as well as communication and all the other things. In upcoming time, we are looking ourselves as an interplanetary species, because we are trying to travel to Mars. We are trying to colonize other planetary systems, and we are we are working on almost everything now. So everything that is happening right now is the result of only one thing, that is research. Some curious mind came together and came up with something which nobody else has thought about. So we are thinking that when we talk about the research and what we are trying to achieve from this conference, we are trying to achieve the ideas which are buried in some of these researchers, and they just need to have an exposure related to those ideas so that they can benefit the world as well as our community. So as a representation from Apex University, I was very much obliged to give such kind of a speech and in front of so many dignitaries, and I'm very humbled from for this opportunity. So thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. You have done a great work.
Thanks a lot, sir, for sharing your valuable suggestions. Now I would like to request respected Dr. C.M. Patel, Director, International and Scientific Research Organization, Research Culture Society, as a conference chair to provide us guidance and understanding on various scientific aspects of emerging research issues. Please, sir.
Yes, good afternoon to one and all the participants, speakers, session chairpersons, members from Apex University, members from Inaguration University, and Scientific Research Association. I would like to state that the conference, seminar, congress, and such events we are organizing to discuss overviews, new patterns, research, and ideas of the researchers. Conference, such a nice platform to provide a valuable opportunity to the researchers, the scientists, industry specialists, and decision makers to share their experiences and ideas. Science Engineering and technology has crossed nearly every facet to modern life. As problem solver, engineers are perfectly capable for managing the technical activities, as we all aware about that. And they have some mastering innovations the way of science engineering field. When they spend their time and efforts to understand and acting in the field, they have come up with some new ideas, new concepts, and new innovative techniques. So that are very helpful to our futures and obviously in the field of science and technology. Scientific and technological innovations as a strategic support to improve social productivity and overall nation strength. And we can say that it must be placed at the center for the development of any country. The framework includes engineers and technology as they relate to the applications of science. Engineering is used to means engage in the systematic design practice to achieve solutions to a particular human problem. And technology is used to include all type of human made system and process. The current advances in science and technology is to process from the past, analyze the present, and implement for the future at the latest innovative involving theories and technologies to surpass the hurdle to make modest frontiers. Now, about the modern science and technology are now undergoing a great revolution. The advances over the last 3 decades have not been limited to particular scientific theories or production techniques, nor have they just represented the progress and reform in the usual sense. The whole range of new sciences and technologies is continuously emerging and growing. Modern science opens the way for the improvement of production and techniques and determines the direction of their development. At the last, I want to state that innovate means to create new experiments, to break new ground, and solve older problem in a new ways. So I am grateful to the researchers and experts who have come up to share their knowledge in this conference. And my well wishes from the Research Culture Society and Scientific Research Association to upcoming presenters in the upcoming sessions. I am sure you will have the fruitful reward exchanges in the next session. I wish you very success with this important conference, and I look forward to learn about the new outcomes in this session. Best wishes to all the participants. Thank you.
Thanks, sir, for making us understand the new areas to be explored in near future, for highlighting the various issues on the holistic basis and bringing the important to front. Thanks a lot. Now, I would like to request respected
Rania is
Dr.
here.
Rania Lempu,
Yeah.
a STEM instructor at the Greek Ministry of Education at the Directorate of Educational Technology and Innovations. Greece had STEM Department, Institute of Science Technology, Eurasian University, as a guest keynote speaker to kindly shed the light on various emerging issues from her specialization. Ma'am, please.
Warm greetings from Greece. It's a great, always pleasure and honor and privilege to be invited in this great conference, a very interesting and important conference. We thank Research Culture Society and the National Scientific Association for this invitation, and I warmly thank Dr. Patel for his warm invitation. So today we're going to explore the concept, we're going to approach the concept of sustainability, of environmental awareness, education for sustainable development, and how can STEM education can be combined with education for sustainable development in order to implement the goals of the UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. So may I share my presentation? And Can you see now the presentation?
Yes, it's fine, visible.
Okay,
Perfect.
you also the change of slides.
Yes, it's
Okay.
fine.
So the 2030 Agenda considers education as a key strategy to accomplish important environmental goals, and education must answer the environmental issues, defining new relevant objectives and contents, new global frameworks and specific teaching programs to empower people and students. So from this point of view, education institutions have to establish new educational programs in order to create an essential context to integrate sustainable development goals. So why would sustainable education contributes to developing competencies and stability among students, as critical, creative thinking, problem solving strategies, capacity to act, collaboration, systemic thinking. So in this way, students will be potential change actors who will have the ability to shape a more sustainable society. And what is sustainable development? Sustainable development is a development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So, and sustainability ensures that future generations have the same amount of well-being. And sustainability consists of many parameters such as conservation of capital and stability of systems. What are the main 4 pillars of sustainability? First, we can see that this term is broadly used to indicate programs, initiatives, and actions aimed at the preservation of a particular resource. And it refers to 4 distinct areas: human, social, economic, environmental. Human sustainability encompasses the development of skills and human capacity to support the functions and sustainability organization and to promote the well-being of communities and society. When we talk about economic sustainability, sustainability obviously aims to maintain the capital intact. If a social sustainability focuses on improving social equality, economic sustainability aims to improve the standard of living. And social sustainability, of course, incorporates the idea of sustainable development of the principle that addresses social economic improvement, that protects the environment, supports equality, and therefore economy and society, ecological system are mutually dependent. Environmental sustainability, which places emphasis on how business can achieve positive economic outcomes without doing any harm in short or long term at the environment. So environmentally sustainable business seeks to integrate all these 4 sustainability pillars, and to reach this aim, each one needs to be treated equally. So why STEM here is important? STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, mathematics. STEM education plays a crucial role in overcoming the challenges posed in achieving sustainable development goals. Achieving these goals requires a shift in STEM education away from a focus on academic technical knowledge towards a much broader, interdisciplinary and complex problem-solving approach that combines societal and sustainable problem analysis with academic technical knowledge and solutions at the same time. Why? Because STEM students need to learn how to analyze and solve complicated and complex problems and be able to collaborate in a variety of teams. Institutions can respond to the challenge of sustainability through student-centered and problems-based learning. So steering STEM education in this direction will require educational leadership and education research. Curriculum change should be approached this way in a systematic way, which includes promotion and faculty development. For instance, how is the engineering sector is changing? Engineering is a problem-solving profession and requires a problem-based approach to learning. From early school education and throughout the educational system, science subjects will benefit from a more inquiry-based approach, combined with design thinking and interdisciplinary collaboration with other school subjects. So engineering students need to learn how to analyze and solve the problems facing by the society, and at the same time develop technologies that will improve sustainable living. These needs are reinforced by major trends shaping STEM education, like emerging technologies and the employability agenda, as well as diversity issues such as gender balance. Why gender balance? We all know how women in STEM are still underrepresented all around the world. With the exception of biology, in all other fields, women are still underrepresented. STEM projects focus on inquiry, student-led investigation. We talk always about open-ended real-life problem, hands-on activities, because we need students that could be inventive, that could be innovators, that could be technologically literate, self-reliant, etc. The steady decline of enrollment among young people in science and the shortage of engineers, for instance, is the cause of concern. So UNESCO had developed online science, technology, engineering, mathematics education resources for inclusive distance learning in response to the COVID pandemic, with a view to making STEM education more accessible. These free online resources provide, for instance, coding challenges for all ages, as well as mathematical descriptions, guides, and magazines, interactive design opportunities with scientists via Skype. The objective of UNESCO was actually to increase the interest of young people, especially girls, in engineering and science disciplines that stimulate the critical thinking, the innovation, problem solving. Examples, for instance, of UNESCO online programs in education include learning from scratch how to build a program, a robot out of household materials and a smartphone. And as it was noted in this first UNESCO engineering report, it was actually that STEM education faces a number of challenges that include how to attract and how to retain students, and how to respond to changing forms of knowledge, production and application. STEM education, so it's the key to addressing the majority of sustainable development goals, and also plays an essential role in integrating humanitarian, social, economic development, for example, the societal processes underlying peace and justice. So students starting their engineering education today, the STEM education today, will put the learning into practice beyond the horizon of the existing sustainable development goals. Why? Because technology will become more complex, and the learning outcomes for STEM education should follow it, which will involve changes to both the content of education and the method of learning. So any future direction should involve an integrated understanding of complex problem identification, first problem identification, and secondly problem solving, because problem solving is already integrated in the curriculum, but problem identification still is not, in order to enable STEM students to learn the necessary technical skills, as well as how to deal with the challenges of sustainable development in relation to their discipline and societal impact. So according to UNESCO, advances STEM have already brought about significant improvements in all aspects of life, such as health, agriculture, infrastructure, renewable energy. STEM education is undoubtedly necessary for preparing students for the world of work and for STEM careers of tomorrow. And according to the World Economic Forum, STEM education is a measurement of the future preparedness of the countries. So what I forgot to say that the principles of STEM learning, it's that learning should be a lifelong process that should include everyday experiences, that students should be involved in research. New technologies are necessary to define the content of the curriculum. Broader sociocultural and political factors to be considered, and students should deal responsibly with the technology. So what are the recommendations? First of all, improve and strengthen STEM education school. This is the foundation of higher STEM education, lifelong learning. I know that in many countries, for instance, Greece, we don't have STEM programs in university still. It's not, this is not integrated still in higher education here in Greece, but there was a huge step because our minister has integrated a new curriculum, a new cognitive discipline called Skills Lab in primary and secondary education. And in this, for the first time, we have STEM, we have robotics, we have environmental education, we have entrepreneurship and service learning. It's a huge reform for a small country like Greece, which usually lags behind in terms of reforms in comparison to other European countries. So for all education establishments, for schools, universities, departments, and professional training bodies, there is also a need to integrate this concept of sustainability into the curriculum and to ensure that all learners acquire the knowledge and skills needed to promote sustainable development. Interdisciplinarity, sustainability, and employability in STEM curricula. Governments should include should actually try to increase the focus on the disciplinary curricula, on professional competencies, combining them with funding models to support this need. So we need at the same time national accreditation criteria that should be formulated and accompanied by incentives and rewards for institutions meeting the requirements. For instance, in Europe, we have for the first time the first European STEM framework. This is very, very important because we need rubrics. We need actually we need global frameworks in order to implement these programs, because there are new methods of assessment, there are new methods of evaluation. So national and international accreditation criteria are important. Investment in STEM studies. Governments should promote and support STEM education studies to develop pedagogy, teaching and learning at a systemic level. Studies should focus on interdisciplinary and complex problem solving using student-centered problem-based always and online learning. Institutional change, embracing complexity. That means that we need to work changes the curriculum and learning approaches through comprehensive blended educational models. Developing cooperation in industry. Don't be afraid of industry. Here in Greece, when teachers hear about industries, they become sick. So we need, I think that we need to recognize, to acknowledge the role of industry as a knowledge partner. And other also societal actors, because such models make use of real world complex problems and projects, including with reference to sustainable development. Educational leadership for educational change. Governments should invest, develop and recognize educational leadership to facilitate and sustain the needed systemic changes in STEM education. And we need to recognize academics as agents of change, should develop strategies for program change and allocate resources for mandatory academic development together with other incentives, as I said before. Because how to implement STEM project if you don't have the necessary technological equipment? We know robotics equipment costs a lot, so we need also funding. What about the rise of the science, sustainability science and STEM for sustainable development? But there were actually 4 enabling trends are important when we talk about sustainability science. First of all, inter-cross and transdisciplinary knowledge is breaking down conventional boundaries to create a more holistic approach. This is the first trend. The second one, entrepreneurship, which mainly takes the form of techno-entrepreneurship, is this ability to add value by generating polyvalent knowledge that integrates and synthesizes theoretical, practical, and policy-oriented elements. There is also the notion of diversity, which is expanding to mean inclusivity for all, involving not only what we call the disadvantaged groups, but also personal characteristics such as physical condition, ethnic and cultural identities, and also what we call human ecological well-being, because STEM is adopting a more sensitive, a more holistic, a more cautious approach to human-made changes to the Earth's natural environment in order to avoid the harmful and irreversible state shift in ecosystems. So we need to strengthen all types of interregional, regional cooperation for STEM capacity building in alignment with sustainable development, expand and innovate STEM education globally, particularly in developing countries, promote sustainability competencies for STEM graduates through lifelong learning and training, establish diversity in the STEM systems and encourage young people, especially girls, as I said before, to pursue careers in STEM. Provide support of safeguard human well-being and ecological resilience by promoting inclusive approaches to infrastructure building in STEM, and to develop sustainable professional STEM organizations to support and maximize STEM potential, including by developing capacity in data, monitoring, and accountability. So attract more young people to study STEM, improve women's participation, encourage entrepreneurship, and improve innovation capabilities. Minimize the gap between the system of education and the profession of, for instance, engineers by promoting mutual recognition across the region to increase the mobility of these STEM graduates. Promote partnerships is also very important to address the challenges. and ensure that the new policies and practical actions are taken into account. So the government should produce studies utilizing data to forecast market shifts and examine past trends, strategic direction, growth applications to guide the student choices towards particular fields of study. And very important, universities should include courses that help achieve mindset changes for the young generation, enable them to create startups and job opportunities for others. So how STEM is related to environmental education for STEM development, I will show you how it is related. The aim, first of all, environmental education is to empower people to participate in shaping and sustainable future. This requires a reorientation of current education systems. When we talk about education for sustainable development, this means that we need to understand all these issues of the environment and their dimensions. It's important environmental education because it combats what we call nature deficit disorder. It fosters sensitivity, appreciation, respect for the environment, and promotes active learning, citizenship, student leadership. It empowers youth to share their voice and make a difference. It helps teaching students to build their own knowledge and teaching skills. And what are the characteristics of this education for sustainable development? First of all, it should develop individual values, knowledge, skills, and competencies for sustainable living. Although there is not a universal model for a sustainable education for sustainable development, there is a broad agreement on specific characteristics. It should be interdisciplinary, it should be holistic and value-driven. It should promote critical thinking, problem solving, include a variety of learning and teaching methods, and encourage participation, collaboration. So it must reflect all the dimensions of sustainable development, economic, social, environmental. No, environmental education has been a part of the curriculum in Western education system for decades, but the paradigms are egocentric or anthropocentric. That means that environmental issues are often approached in an incidental or fragmented manner. So we need a more comprehensive approach that we take into consideration. It's also characterized by contextual and locally relevant learning. That means that students should be involved, for instance, in a park, in a local habitat, in the beach, or take our students and to implement outdoor activities in the effort to develop an awareness and concern for the environment. And this way, they can students can learn how to adopt healthy lifestyles and how to learn to love the environment. So environmental education aims for a democratic society, inclusive society, in which environmentally literate community members possess sense of empowerment and agency. They can participate with creativity. And also ensuring that we need environmental literacy and what we call environmental education framework. With the framework would offer a holistic vision and would promote progress towards a more healthy environment and quality of life. So when we talk about environmental literacy, this depends on learners' ability to ask questions, to speculate, to hypothesize, to observe the world around us, to seek information. So learners must be familiar with inquiry, like in STEM education, need to master fundamental skills for gathering and organizing information, to interpret and synthesize information. All this set of skills such as questioning, design, investigation, collecting information, evaluating, drawing conclusions. Other set of skills, it's how students should understand, develop understanding on how changes in one system results in changes in another. How to develop skills for understanding and addressing environmental literacy, how to investigate environmental issues, to consider evidence and differing viewpoints, evaluate proposed action plans, etc. And skills for analyzing, investigating, identifying, sorting out, identifying and critiquing alternative solutions, working with flexibility and creativity. Set of skills about decision-making and action skills, forming, evaluating the need for action, planning, evaluating the results of actions, and personal civic responsibility, the most important, I think, how to recognize rights and responsibilities, how to recognize efficacy and accepting personal responsibility. There are many very interesting best example practices of how we can combine environmental STEM education. I will show you this one. Cal water. Students here develop water solutions. They measuring the safety of drinking water, applying intelligent planting techniques to conserve water in parched areas, testing water and soil samples to help protect the local watershed. Through many hands-on solutions, this classroom challenge is a project-based, environmentally focused competition. They managed to actually develop a core understanding of environmental principles necessary to become science literate citizens. And through this challenge, students initiate, they develop, they implement project, they explore water as a global local resource, while at the same time they try to tackle a local water problem, individual and community-based endeavor. So students create a final portfolio, documenting their work and submit it alongside with reflections, etc. So community-based learning also, it's something which is very trendy in education now and very closely related with STEM education. Another example is that students developed a two-pronged water conservation project. They researched, they designed, they prepared a garden with drought-tolerant plants for the school, initiated the public outreach plan by writing to city officials to advocate for the replacement of grassy areas with native plants. And how the idea came to students while they were looking for ways to expand ongoing water conservation efforts. The classrooms realized that students could restore an existing school space that was overrun with weeds and debris, and by creating the garden, students were able to conserve water while at the same time beautifying the school and promoting greater water conservation efforts in their communities. In Virginia, also in USA, student groups, they conduct the research, they combine, they collaborate with other groups to strengthen their teams. And during this step, they meet with community members, the school board, the city council members, or community experts to carry out their action plan. So these students, they got permission to install 9 water bottle refilling stations to reduce the use of plastic water bottles. Other students start a collection center for plastic bags. And also here I want to say that there are many, many wonderful examples of best practices in schools about what we call wealth out of waste. Waste management projects are also very, very important. What I did with my students during the COVID pandemic, this project is called The Contribution of Technology to the Protection of Our Health. This project concerned the quality of life of residents of large cities in apartments. And here my students examined the nuisance factors of an apartment, and more specifically noise pollution and harmful factors of the gaseous environment of an apartment, such as carbon monoxide, smoke, and dust. So they created a miniaturized model of an apartment, and sound detection sensors were installed. Actually, with the use STEM technologies such as Arduino microcontroller, connection board with resistors, LEDs, etc. And the goal of this project is to improve the quality of life of people living in modern homes, to protect their psychological and physical health. At the same time, this project was interdisciplinary because it involved physics, it involved technology, mathematics, involves and art. This was one of project, and here I want to show you something. In Greece, here the Greek ministry where I'm working, I launched very recently a new project which is called SOS, for Changing the Earth's Climate, and it combines environmental education with STEM education and arts. And it is addressed to primary school students. Why? Because students this age should inculcate these values of respecting the environment and these values of volunteerism and service learning. So through this project, which is based, it is focused on sustainable development goals, 5 sustainable development goals. Students will have the chance to learn about all these thematic axes that you see, climate zones, proposals to reverse the negative impact of human activities. They will get acquainted with various ways in which humans intentionally or unintentionally affect the Earth's environment. They will realize their own involvement and responsibility towards climate problems. They will cultivate the creativity to find solutions. They will have the opportunity to collaborate, to experiment, to solve authentic problems, to experiment with exploratory discovery learning methods, use also digital tools. They will have a chance to strengthen their environmental awareness, develop the critical thinking, and of course, when we talk about attitudes, to understand how important it is to find solutions and to realize that we all have responsibility to protect the Earth's climate. Some examples of activities that I have integrated in my project is how to build a mini meteorological station, many STEM activities, experiments to simulate weather phenomena that occur in Greece and other places, how to take measurements of temperature, pressure, humidity, and other weather parameters, artistic activities, and also many other activities. So the goal of all this project is, of course, that students have a chance to deal systematically with scientific environmental issues from an early age, reinforcing the social sensitivity, the ecological consciousness, and their environmental responsibility. Before concluding, I want to say that also the founder and the national coordinator of many international STEM projects, humanitarian STEM projects implemented in Africa and Asia, addressed especially to underprivileged children. Here, the one is what about other life giver and threat. We're talking about students who don't have school supplies at all, students who are thirsty, and how to teach about water awareness to students who have to walk about 90 minutes to find clean water to drink, and how to implement STEM projects who require technology. This project that I integrated STEM activities, adopting what we call STEM unplugged, STEM with simple everyday materials. Obviously, these children utilized natural resources and they did amazing things. They performed water experiments. They learned how to sanitize and filter their water. They created branches, mind maps using branches of trees. Many other activities. The impact was great because we managed to obtain sanitation and filter equipment for churches, organizations from USA, and 6 wells were drilled in these areas in Malawi, where children had to walk 90 minutes for the day. And another project was implemented in India. It is called Food for Thought. It's actually it teaches healthy food combinations in case of food shortage. And it was a program that inspired the teachers who visited the slums, educated the families, and donated money to the students. It had also great impact. And many other projects, National Development Goals. I want to highlight something here that, for instance, in Greece, many teachers complain about STEM education. I mean, they feel that they lack the necessary training, and they're complaining against government that we don't have the necessary funding, the technological equipment. All these projects that you see here didn't require technology, but these projects have received over 200 awards so far, because when there is the will, there is a way, and when there is a way, there is the key. Even if we don't have the necessary technological equipment, we can still do amazing STEM projects and simulate principles of physics or any other cognitive disciplines. It's up to us as educators to be creative, inventors, and innovative. Thank you very much for your attention, and of course, for any questions.
Thanks, ma'am, for giving new insight in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics domain, highlighting the importance of flora and fauna, sustainable development, and growth, which is indeed the vital component of healthy society, culture, and future of humanity. Hope your guidance and experience shall be guiding force for the conference. Thank you, ma'am. Now, I would like to request respected Dr. K.D. Gupta, Head of the Department of Computer Science and Application, Apex University, as a conference coordinator to enlighten us with his views. Sir, please.
Good afternoon to all of you. Thank you. This word is such a prayer that can't be seen, that cannot be touched. It must be felt by heart. I feel honored and privileged to get the opportunity to propose a vote of thanks on this special occasion. I would like to thank all the honorable delegates who blessed us with their nice presence. I'm also very much thankful to all the conference committee members and the invited speakers. Words are not enough to thank your constant guidance and support to shape the conference. I, on behalf of Apex University and organizing committee, convey deep regards and heartily thanks to our Honorable Chairman Dr. Ravi Juniwal sir and Vice Chancellor Professor Dr. O.P. Chandani sir. I am also very thankful to Registrar Professor Dr. Pankaj Kumar Sharma sir. They help us in obtaining the necessary administrative approval for organizing the conference. My special thanks to Air Commandant Devendra Singh Shekhawat, Dean Academics, that are not available due to some urgency. But I would like to thank to my colleague, my friend Rishan Sharma, for his gracious presence. At this Jonit sir, I would like to thank Dr. Parin Somani, is Director, London Organization of Skill Development, United Kingdom, as a chief guest speaker for this conference. To the continue of this, I would like to sincere thanks to Rania Lompu ma'am at the she is STEM instructor at the Greek Ministry of Education of the Directorate of Education Technology and Innovation Greece. She is European University as a guest lecturer and keynote. I would is not available now, but he will be joined tomorrow session. He is head of the department in JAIPUR campus as a keynote speaker. He will join in tomorrow session. At his constant help and guidance, that is radical, its source of energy with us. We will ever remain grateful of all the team members. I am very much thankful to all my faculty members and all non-teaching staff who always stand by us with and motivate us. I feel proud and thank you for making this event a successful one. At the end, I would like to take this opportunity and thank to Dr. C.M. Patel sir. He is Director, International Scientific Research Organization, as conference chair to join hands to organize this conference. Once again, thank you all of you. Have a wonderful day and enjoy the conference. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, sir, for providing such a valuable inputs and giving the opportunities to various paper presenters, integrating highly renowned intellectuals on common platform through this conference. Thanks all respected eminent speakers for providing such a valuable information. Now, I request all the members and participants and research scholars that we are having a break of 20 minutes. And after that, presentation session will start as per schedule. Thanks.